up? Welcome to the Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 47, and I am Adam Choit. To follow this show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram, and I'm at Adam Choit on Instagram as well if you want to follow me. And of course, I have no affiliation with the band. This is not an official podcast for TTB or anything. I am just a fan. And if you're listening to this, I'm guessing there's a good chance that you might be too. So please be sure to subscribe as well and give the show a positive review on iTunes. Doing those things is definitely helpful for sure. So, for today's episode, I will recap the Fireside Sessions episode 3. And what I did was I went live and I live streamed in the TTB fans Facebook group, private Facebook group on Facebook, right after the show ended last night on Thursday. And a bunch of people participated and gave me their thoughts on episode 3 and recorded a podcast with me. And this particular episode of the Fireside Sessions was just Derek and Susan in their home studio in Florida, playing a bunch of different guitars and singing. And it was just the two of them for about an hour, and it was intimate, and it was great, and it was special. And I actually missed in my recap the new song. They played a new song, Smile on Me, Smile something with smile in it. But I actually forgot to include that in chronological order within the episode. So we will talk about that new song at the very end of the episode. So it was not entirely forgotten. Thank you for a fellow fan reminding me about that one. But let's just get started. Here's the Fireside Sessions episode 3 recap. Let's just start talking about the show. I got to start from the beginning. What was the first song they played? It was When Will I Begin? Right? That was cool to hear because I've been playing that song, actually. I'm not going to play it right now or anything. But to hear them play that is special to me, especially because I've been trying to learn to sing a little bit myself. And that just happens to be one of the songs I've been working on. And I remember a particular version that I really liked of this is when they played it at the Jimmy Kimmel set. It wasn't part of the show that they aired when they did that, 3-4 song Jimmy Kimmel thing that I was able to catch here in LA. But their version of When Will I Begin, that to see that live was special. Just like the Derek opening solo, because they, sometimes he does a opening little intro solo when they do that song live, and that was just something about being outdoors, and it was just special, that particular show. And it was special tonight too, and it's awesome to hear how they listen to each other, Derek and Susan, when they're playing. And obviously they have chemistry since they've been married and playing together for quite some time. What do you guys got for When Will I Begin? What did you think of that? That's one of my favorite songs on Signs. Again, my favorite songs are pretty much all of them. So you can't really even go by me. But we can move on to the next one. I loved it. Steve loved When Will I Begin? I like the cutaways in between songs of the nature setting. Like this series, it seems like it's almost like a break from at least my reality. Maybe people who live in a setting that's similar to where these shows were recorded in such a naturey setting don't feel like it's such an escape from their reality. But for me, living in Los Angeles, it's not, I mean, you got obviously like hiking trails, and I'm not like far from nature or anything like that. But just to see all the nature shots and to the music is always like a good escape from reality. So I loved all the beauty shots and the drone shots and the cutaways. And it worked especially for me because like Tammy saying, we got a lot of stories. We got some intimate stuff tonight. So it's not like when they cut away to the naturey stuff, we felt like we needed to see what they were talking about. The hearing the voices tell some of the stories and connect, be transitions between one song into the next. That was cool. And the second song they played was "You Got the Silver." Of course, the Keith Richards Rolling Stone song that Susan recorded. I love that version. I loved that song. Was my ringtone. The Keith Richards version for probably several years. I don't know why. I just figured it. I just liked that song. Was listening to it a lot at the time. I'm like, oh, let's see if I can figure out how to make a song my ringtone. So "You Got the Silver," the Rolling Stones version. I think just the chorus, the chorus was my ringtone. Yes, Steve says Susan's soft talking voice he enjoys as well compared to her singing voice. Yeah, I've heard like people are surprised to hear Susan's powerful singing voice if they hear her speak, just talking first. I don't know what the model or whatever, maybe it was probably a National guitar, resonator guitar Derek was playing there. I'm sure people will dive into the weeds on all the gear and all the different guitars and models and years of all that stuff. I see a lot of those threads going, but just the vibe of the room, obviously, and we'll get into some of that and the space. But Susan's voice is great. Like it just sounds like as great as it does when they tour. And on the records that they recorded, the "You Got the Silver" record, recording on what was it? Hope and Desire, the Susan Tedeschi album. But first time I ever heard Derek speak, says Gail. Yeah, it was great to hear Derek talk a little bit on this and say some really touching things and nice things to us, the fans, and about Kofi, who was quite a prominent part of this particular episode of Fireside. I would say, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but Derek was talking about Genghis Blues. You're right on cue there, Gail. I'm looking through my notes here, which I had mentioned as well in a previous podcast episode. Of course, they did "Gonna Move," Paul Pena song, and Mike Madison did the vocal last week, I believe, obviously, when they did "Gonna Move." So, and they both have recorded the song and done the song. So it's no problem for me hearing a couple of repeat songs tonight that were obviously done in a totally different style than they were beforehand. And I'm sure, as you guys have already been commenting a little bit, even before we started recording, that we sort of fill in the unheard parts of the show. whether that be a horn sound blasting or the crowd going wild when Susan revs up the vocals or revving up the drums. I'll play some drum parts in my head too. But what the hell did I write here? I don't know. I wrote down Susan, you so soulful. I can't speak, man. I gotta fucking see like a speech therapist. Podcasting is probably not the right thing for me, unfortunately. But I'm gonna keep going anyway. No, that was great. Yeah, I loved Gonna Move again. The exchange of guitar solos was tremendous. All of them were. There was a lot of that tonight, for sure. There was a lake shot in between Gonna Move and the fourth song, which was Made Up Mind, which is an interesting choice, I suppose, um at first glance or whatever, because it's kind of like more like a rocker. But Derek Trucks plays basically the bass rhythm and the lead, and not just on on well, yeah, basically, yeah. He fills in those sounds is what I'm saying. He fills in those different sort of those sounds that make a song full. He's able to do that, achieve that all on his guitar. And for me to hear them do Made Up Mind with just the two of them, I felt like it was kind of like a nuts and bolts, a look into the nuts and bolts, like structure and construction of the song itself. It's like, oh, that's really how you kind of like really get a sense of every little intricacy of the melody and even some of the timing behind it. Derek puts 12 parts on his back, says Sean Roach. I agree. And Tammy was saying earlier that Kofi will always be a big part of what TTB does for sure. Yeah, it was just cool to get that. That's again a sort of intimate look into sort of a behind the scenes of a song. Like I felt like we got behind the scenes of Made Up Mind a little bit, and it was great, as were all the songs. I was supposed to pull up the source for this episode, but I did not do that. So all I know how to say is stuff is beautiful. Either it's beautiful, it's awesome. I mean, most things are going to be both, but I'm usually going to go with one of those words. Do you guys have any other thoughts about Made Up Mind? And then we'll get into the next song, which was Robert Johnson. Robert Johnson's Walking Blues. They have attitude. They have soul and they have attitude. Derek and Susan. That's just that's part of what makes them awesome. Is they don't I don't know. They're never on cruise control during a song. Every moment of every song has intention, especially if it's like you're being highlighted, within the overall context of when there are 12 people together. If you're getting your horn solo or your bass solo, your drum solo, then you're really prominent. But prominent in terms of showing your individual attitude. But Susan and Derek just have so much attitude with their voice, with Susan's voice and Derek's guitar and Susan's guitar work, and Derek's rhythm work is just awesome. There it is on Walking Blues. The way he incorporates the strumming and and the riff work into the guitar. That's what I love, when guitar players are able to play sort of the individual notes and the lead stuff, but also incorporate the strumming and really everything in between. How do you do it? I don't know. Practice more than I practice, I guess. Felt the Robert Johnson blues, says David Flam. That's good. I felt it too. I was moved a lot during this show. I'll just say that. Let's just say that. Um they just sound perfect together. That's what I wrote down here for the seventh song, All My Friends. And I guess this is a conversation. I could see this becoming a whole thread in the group or something like that. But there are certain types of songs Tedeschi Trucks plays, and All My Friends has that kind of it's so heavy, easy like Sunday morning kind of vibe. And that's like one sort of category of TTB song. And I suppose another one would be like the How Blue Can You Get, Sky Is Crying, sort of more traditional blues song. So they do have like certain like types of songs, I guess. And that's fine, but they're always sort of they're all unique in their own ways. I never feel like you never feel like you're being cheated out of any originality with what this band puts forth. And I have some more comments about their songs and their songwriting and their originals. Later on, I jotted down some things, but they just sound perfect. I mean, it's a full sound again with just the two of them on All My Friends. You escape into like no, I don't know if maybe outside of yourself, but that could be a bit much, but it's pitch perfect. And I don't even necessarily mean just musically. I mean like artistically, like, and being in the moment when they're playing that song. It's like pitch perfect. I've heard this term used in terms of certain movies, that where every scene, every moment, every look, every expression, every line, everything about it, it just seems like it's done like that's where it all belongs. And that's kind of like the feeling I got. I mean, obviously, this is the feeling you get throughout watching the show, but I wrote it down when they were playing this particular song, All My Friends. And next was Whiskey Legs, which obviously they played last week. And a couple of people were commenting how they probably recorded this before last week's show was recorded. But again, even with two electric guitars, there's only so much you can do in terms of creating a full dynamic sound. But that's what they got, Susan and Derek. Like, they were able to get that full awesome rockin' sound with just the two of them. And I felt like you could almost like hear like Derek's foot tapping and hear the feet tapping, like just again filling in some of those sounds in our heads, like the percussive sounds. You can hear it. Like there was no, I would love for that to have been set one, and set two is the band or other band members coming out or just splicing in another more songs with the full band. But they got quite the full sound with just the two of them. Great sound engineering. Yes, we did see Bobby T's couple of quick little insert shots. trying to hide from the camera or something. No, it was cool to get a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. We got more of that this week for sure. More intimacy from both Susan and Derek. And I respect that. And I appreciate that they kind of let us into their home and their lives, and a lot of those stories are personal, whether they be about Kofi or how these songs came about. Let's see, what did I write here? I wrote Susan's quick solo really popped. That's all I wrote there. And then you can hear the band revving up in your head when they're doing what is it, Made Up Mind here. And the back and forth that we heard, throughout the night on different songs between Susan and Derek is not just awesome because they're skillful guitar players who can communicate through their music to the listeners, but just the way the rhythm is seamless is something that I appreciate. Just when they go back and forth, how seamless it is between both of them, where you don't lose that foot tapping momentum and force that comes along with what they do, with what they're doing on guitar. Even Derek was getting into it. You could see, moving his head around. Yeah, Matt says it's the most he's ever heard Derek talk during a show. But this was more like, but this was more like a, I guess, documentary type behind the scenes thing where they don't feel how many people are watching them at home. All they see is whoever's in the space with them and cameras. But to us, the fans, it's like, whoa, Derek is talking a lot, but he does interviews. He does videos, but talking in playing in sort of a concerty setting. That's some of the most I'm sure we've ever heard Derek speak. But yeah, so Derek was definitely being expressive tonight, both with his words and storytelling, and also with his mannerisms while playing a little bit, for sure, were expressive. He was getting into it during Made Up Mind. And then I think they commented how they were out of tune by the end of that song. Well, that sounded good to me. I will say that. And then song number 9 was Strength in What Remains. And you knew that was going to be definitely a moment. And if you want to call that the showstopper or your favorite song or moment of tonight's Fireside sessions, I will not argue with you. I mean, besides the fact that it began with Derek opening up to us, the fans, and talking about Kofi, just the the performance of it itself was great. I wrote down goosebumps. What else you got? Oh, and Derek's so moving. Yes. If I say so moving, that means tears. I'll just give you guys the shorthand of my taking notes during during this. So Derek, said that during the song he wanted to leave the flute solo section open for where Kofi's solo would be. And I've heard him do that. I think they've done that a few times on Idlewind when they play that live. in the aftermath of Kofi's passing, as a sign of respect, a tribute, whatever you wanna call it. And and I remember hearing it, and that was jarring in a sense. The absence of something definitely does make a statement. I thought for a second there he was talking about like stopping the song or something, but he just meant not having the solo and just playing the guitar over it. I follow, but I think that we would have been able to, we would have understood, like, because the way I'm sort of, I guess, if I'm understanding correctly, leaving that space where Kofi's flute solo might be on sort of the beginning of Idlewild, we know it's a tribute to him, as we would have known that not having the solo there is also a tribute, and everyone would have been probably thinking about Kofi anyway. But what else did I write down here for strength and what remains? Tammy says they recorded the song on 6/11/18. Kofi was working with the Jacksonville Symphony strings for that song. Yeah, that's what Derek was commenting on during the performance. And yeah, and of course Kofi did all the string work and the quartet arrangements on Signs. What other songs had the use of the quartet on Signs? Was it just Strength and What Remains? Was it were there other songs? I forget off the top of my head. I forget if I said that David Flam agrees. That's so moving. That this song was so moving. Matt says, I was so excited to see Derek pick up the resonator, and every time he picks up the gold Les Paul, it gives me goosebumps. Yeah, goosebumps. That's definitely a repeating theme for a lot of us, a repeating thing for us here. Song number 10 was Done Somebody Wrong. And I guess for a second there, I was like, oh, maybe it would be cool. I could see why you'd want to hear some like drums, some percussion or the rest of the band. But we filling it in. We got you. We fill it in our head, in our minds, with our brains. And it was just an awesome performance, regardless of if they had one drummer, two drummers, bass, the rest of TTB. Derek's slide solo was just awesome. All right, that's only like my second or third awesome use of awesome, I think, in this recording. Yeah, no, I love to hear Done Somebody Wrong. I feel like I've gone into a TTB / Allman Brothers phase. And like I'm still in that phase. So for them to do this song is always going to be special to me. What was it? It's an Elmore James song originally, I think, right? Done Somebody Wrong. Maybe not. I don't know. He did the song, right? Anybody else got any comments here on Done Somebody Wrong before we move on? What do we got here? Two more songs. Next song was Back Where I Started. That's a beautiful song. That goes into the what do you call it? That's another category of TTB song. I forget which one. What's the song that they do that was on Revelator, where Kofi has the flute solo? There's the video of them on like the porch in Jacksonville. I just forget the name of the song off the top of my head, but it's kind of like a song in like that vibe, the back where I started, you know, just a beautiful blackbirdish type vibe to these songs. Not necessarily even in the guitar playing or picking or anything like that, but just like the vibe of the song. Warren wrote the lyrics to Back Where I Started, says David Flam. Calling out to you, says Mark. Yes, I appreciate that. Yeah, it has a calling out to you type vibe. Glad they broke it out on the last tour, says Sean. Yeah, they did. I remember hearing back where I started a few times in the somewhat recent recent present, recent past, either one. Back when live music was a thing. But yeah, it's just a great tune, and you can hear that Beatlesy vibe in a lot of TTB music. And I did do an episode about the Beatles influence, but again, most of the Beatles covers, even TTB does, are covers of covers or Beatles members solo work and covers of that. Still dying to hear Warren sing it, says Sean Roach. Has Warren never sang Back Where I Started? I feel like he has. I feel like I hear his voice doing that song in my head. Did he never do it at like one of like the Christmas fundraiser festival, something with Susan and Derek? I feel like there's some live version out there. Or even recorded. I don't know. I'm not the right person to find that information. You're the right person to know. He does the song, is what we're saying. He does. You mean to hear it live for yourself? I got you. I follow. But the final song of the night here, is it the final song? Was Anyhow. Just the rhythm on this song is hypnotic. And here's where I wrote down some comments about TTB's songwriting and their songs and their originals. Like, this song is just like really, really well constructed and well written and put together. Just like the different parts and just the feelings that this song evokes are their own individual feelings, like the different sections of the song, the chorus and the little pre-chorus part, and then the verses. They all fit and they all emotionally carry different meanings. Anyhow, such a beautiful song in any format, says Tammy. Agreed. Again, a full sound. Anyhow is the highlight for me, says David Flam, talking about Susan. Sean Roach was saying how Susan, Derek, and Warren did it at a Steve Earle charity show in New York City a year ago. Did you record that show? Because I think that's what my brain was thinking of when I heard Warren's voice doing Back Where I Started. That might have been the version that I was hearing in my head. I wrote down picking up the nonstop rhythm riff Derek carries throughout. That song is amazing, says Matt. Yeah, no, it's hypnotic. It's hypnotic, and it just captures you and pulls you in. They still had the crescendo even without the full band. Sue picking up the guitar at the end. Sean Roach approves of these things. Derek solo, check. I wrote check mark. Accomplished. It's off the list as part of the anyhow performance. Susan ended on a good spot. She thought maybe she had one more note to play, but I was like, no, that sounded good. That worked for me. Do you guys have any other comments about anyhow? This show ended So spiritual in concert. Yes. What did I write down? I wrote down something about this felt like a meditation in many ways. This was like again, for me, who lives not in the most naturey place, at least relative to where these shows are being performed and recorded. I did feel like this one especially did have a spiritual vibe and a meditative quality to it, especially some of the more what's the word? Not slower, not lighter. What's the word I'm looking for? More beautiful, not the non-rockers, ballads, I guess. It was definitely raw. I agree, Matt. But again, that was set one. This is now then when I get off when this is done, then they'll do set two and plug in with the rest of the band. No, I'm just kidding. Next week they'll do that. The artwork in the background, exclamation points, says Tammy. Yeah, the vibe of the settings is perfect for what they're doing, whether it be the first 2 weeks, whether it be today. It's chill, it's intimate, it matches the songs, it matches the personalities of Susan and Derek and Tedeschi Trucks Band, at least in my opinion. I talked about some of the nature shots that were intercut that didn't feel to me like they were like forced in there. They felt like they helped establish and reinforce the feelings that Derek and Susan wanted us to feel, like, which I think is like, a little bit of an escape from our lives and a reality, and so we can get into a world of music, at least for a brief time during our day. They should make a Blu-ray box set of these. I'd buy it, says Sean. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm going to continue to listen to these, because would I just get the video, but I'll get other stuff. Yeah. I think they may just be making more of these. I wonder if they're going to I wonder if they're just going to make more series like this and just record it and put them out, especially if they're unable to hit the road anytime soon. I can't say this is quite the same as a live concert, but it's definitely appreciated and fucking awesome. And I'm super happy that we get this and to get an intimate look into Derek and Susan and their lives and their music and whatnot is appreciated. But I think that's about all I got as far as tonight's episode. Do you guys have anything else on Fireside Sessions, the Fireside Sessions, episode 3? Whether it be Derek, Susan, set list, anything else? I think that's pretty much all I got. I covered it all. That's what I always say. I covered it all. Impossible to cover it all. Oh, did I miss that? I think I missed the original song. Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake. You are right. I wrote about it too. Yeah, there was I skipped over that. Matt, thank you. I'm tripping. Where did I write that down? It was like number 5. It was between Walking Blues and Made Up Mind. Yeah, so let's talk about that briefly. I'm not gonna skip over that. Susan was commenting, and they were commenting that it's hot in there. I guess that was probably the production lights for filming. So it felt like a a stage show in front of in a theater or whatever. But the new song, another new song they played this week. It was called what was it? What was it called? Smiling on Me. Did they say the name was Smiling on Me? Probably. Something like that. But Derek sent an instrumental recording to Oliver Wood, and then that became this song. And yeah, David Flam loves it, as do I. It was definitely yeah, we approve. We approve of this new song. And I was pretty moved by this song as well, is what I wrote down. What I wrote down here. And it's interesting to hear how Derek was saying, casually saying, "Oh, I'm not sure if it's going to end up on the album." And then Susan is like, yeah, it's a beautiful song. It's probably going on the album." So just to get that sort of intimate look into the process is cool, to see how they're still making decisions about what they want to share with the world, and what songs will or won't make it onto an album. They're sharing those decisions kind of with us, the fans, a little bit, but we like the song. What do you guys got for what the hell is the name of that song? Smile, what? I lost that comment. Yeah, the band has definitely gone through. Replying to a Matt Rice comment here, saying, "With everything that has happened this year and all, I feel like Kofi may be in the thinking about it." Referring to this new song. Yeah, I mean, this band has definitely experienced a lot of loss, and they talk about it in their interviews, and I think they express their grief through their music for sure. But I think that's pretty much the wrap up and the recap for episode 3 of the Fireside Sessions. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate the reminder to go back and talk about the Miss song. But yeah, I appreciate it, guys. So there you go. The Fireside Sessions episode 3 recap and episode number 47 of this podcast. That was great. Intimate, special, spiritual, meditative, and just needed by us, the fans. And I'm, of course, referring to the Fireside Sessions, not necessarily this podcast episode, but especially thank you to the fans, and for participating with me on the recap, and for TTB. Thank you to them for the music, Derek, Susan, everyone who helped produce this series. And again, thank you, Derek, for taking the time to speak directly to us, the fans, with not just his music, but also his words. Anyway, for now, hope everyone out there is doing okay. Please check out Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. That's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. And of course, remember to tap subscribe or follow on iTunes, Spotify, or via whichever way you listen to this episode. And again, positive reviews on Apple Podcasts, iTunes are greatly appreciated. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Adam Choit. TTB themselves are TedeschiTrucksBand.com. GiveButter.com/TTB to support the band. That's GiveButter.com/TTB. And of course, to order the Fireside Sessions, there are 3 more episodes to come. Nugs.net. That's Nugs.net for the Fireside Sessions. But I think that's about all I got for today. Thanks again for listening, everyone. Later.